When he was only 9 years old, Satish Kumar renounced the world and joined the wandering brotherhood of Jain monks. Dissuaded from this path by an inner voice at the age of 18, he became a campaigner for land reform, working to turn Gandhi's vision of a renewed India and a peaceable world into reality. And later, of course, as many of you know, he was the recipient of the Gandhi Prize. Fired by the example of Bertrand Russell, he undertook an 8,000-mile peace pilgrimage, walking from India to America without any money, through deserts, mountains, storms, and snow. It was an adventure during which he was thrown into jail in France, faced with a loaded gun in America, and delivered packets of peace tea to the leaders of the 4 nuclear powers. In 1973, he settled in England, taking on the editorship of Resurgence magazine. And I know he mentioned it earlier, but this is really an incredibly beautiful publication, and we really encourage you to support it with a subscription, which you can do so out front. And I'm also told that if you subscribe, you'll get a free book or DVD, so pretty cool. Following Indian tradition, in his 50th year, he undertook another pilgrimage, again carrying no money. He walked to the holy places of Britain, Glastonbury, where we are here today, Canterbury, Lindisfarne, and Iona. Satish has become the guiding spirit behind a number of ecological, spiritual, and educational ventures, and we're delighted to have him here with us again. Join me in welcoming Satish Kumar.
I do not have a PowerPoint, so I can sit down. Thank you, Robin, for inviting me to this conference. The last time I was at the Prophets Conference was in 1997 in Oxford. And that was a wonderful experience. And I still meet people who say, oh, I heard you in Students' Union, Oxford Union, Prophets Conference. Now, my question is, who is the prophet? There is no one prophet. You are all prophets. We are all prophets. There was a wonderful teacher in India called Ananda Kumara Swami. And he said, it's a beautiful words, an artist is not a special kind of person, but every person is a special kind of artist. We all have that potential to discover ourselves. And so, potentially, we are all a Gandhi, a Martin Luther King, a Mother Teresa, a Shakespeare, a Beethoven, a Bach, whoever your great heroes are. We all have that potential. And the journey of life is to discover that potential. And when you discover that potential, you are called self-realized. So the journey of life is journey towards self-realization. And you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. You are, I am, every one of us are a unique gift. Although we all have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, similar sort of body, even we might be speaking English, but we all have our own voice. Even on the telephone, you can recognize the distinctive voice of everybody. So, discovering yourself You have to go through the journey of life. There is no other destination. This is why I called my book No Destination. It's the journey itself is destination. And in that journey, you find who you are. It can be a physical journey, it can be a pilgrimage, and that's what I did. As Robin said, I made a physical journey. It's a kind of like a vision quest to discover yourself, your spirit, your soul. And I found inspiration from an odd place. In the West, you get inspiration from great saints of India, like Muktananda, or Vivekananda, or in a side detour, you know the word Ananda, Muktananda, Shivananda, Dayananda, Vivekananda, all these names of great Indian sadhus and saints end with the word Ananda. It's very important to know why and what is the meaning of Ananda. Ananda means joy, delight, bliss. And all the swamis and sadhus and yogis need to reach that stage of joy. And unless you are in that stage, you are on a journey. So Yogananda. You may be doing yoga in the morning, yoga in the evening, yoga in the weekend, yoga every day, yoga twice a day, yoga 3 times a day, but you are miserable. What's the point of doing yoga? So yoga must be accompanied with joy, with ananda. This is why the name would be given Yogananda. So Ananda is the journey's kind of point. Self-realization is in that Ananda. And in the Indian tradition, you have 3 words: Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat is reality. What is? The material world, the spiritual world, everything, reality. Truth, Sat, like my name, Satish. Truth, reality. Now, reality can be internalized, understood, appreciated through Chit, that is consciousness. Reality cannot exist without consciousness. The reality is only in the consciousness. So Chit means consciousness. And the relationship between consciousness and what is, what your eyes see, what your ears hear, what you touch, that reality, the sensual reality, and the relationship between consciousness and reality is true reality. So, reality is not a thing in itself. Reality is a relationship among things. And the relationship is consciousness. I mean, Graham wonderfully explained this morning the idea of consciousness. There are many ways to explain it, but one way to say is the relationship, this consciousness and reality. That is reality. What is, and when you are conscious of it, and the relationship between the two, that is where what is born, what emerges out of that relationship is Ananda. So Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sometimes in Indian sadhus and yogis, they get name Satchidananda. Swami Satchidananda. You go to India, you will feel, even ordinary people like me will have name Satchidananda. So Sat, Chit, Ananda. These are the 3 words, Sanskrit words that you can try to remember, to learn. Seed words. The whole philosophy of India is built on these 3 words. The whole philosophy of Vedanta, of Upanishads, of Vedas, of Bhagavad Gita, of Ramayana, of Mahabharata, of all the yogas and Upanishads that you know, they're all built on these 3 words. And the 3 words come from one word, and that is Om. So the 3 words come from one word, that sound, Om. Om means all, everything. Reality, consciousness, joy, existence, everything is Om. Like omnipresent, omnipotent, Amen, the same root, Om. And so, but inspiration for me, coming back to the story, came not from India, but from England. That's kind of East and West meeting in search of truth. So one morning, I was sitting in a cafe in the city of Bangalore, and I picked up the newspaper while my coffee was coming, and I read a piece of news that a great philosopher in England, Bertrand Russell, was protesting against the nuclear weapons and was put in jail because he was doing non-violent direct action. And I was with a friend. And I said to my friend, look, read this news. Here is a man of 90 going to jail for peace in the world. What are we doing, young men, sitting here drinking coffee? And my friend said, yes, wow. What can we do? And so that was the seed of inspiration. And both of us, then and there, after a long discussion, but then and there, we decided that we will go to these 4 nuclear capitals of the world: Moscow, Paris, London, Washington, D.C., and join the peace movement of the world. Now, that was a kind of, you can say, something, consciousness was deep, but we captured something there, and we felt very happy, because that was like going on a vision quest, going through a shamanic experience it was. And then we went to see our teacher, our guru. And our guru was a man called Vinoba, a great Gandhian, great saint, great philosopher, scholar. And he said, wise man, he said, you are going for peace, okay, and you are going to walk. I give you my blessings, but on one condition. What is your condition? You go without any money in your pockets. I said, what do you mean, any money? Sometimes we might need to write a postcard to you, or buy a cup of tea, or make a telephone call. He said, you are going for peace. And peace comes from trust. And wars come from fear. So you don't have to just talk about peace, you have to be peace. You don't demonstrate for peace, you demonstrate peace. And trust yourself. Trust the universe. Trust God. Trust people. You will be looked after. Go without money. Wow. What do you do? Your guru says this. And guru-disciple relationship is very special. It's not a dilettante relationship that you take guru's advice when it suits you and not when it doesn't suit you. I say, all right, if you say so, We trust you. And so with Vinoba's advice, we left the grave of Mahatma Gandhi. We started our journey, our vision quest from the grave of Mahatma Gandhi, no money. And we walked through India, the northern India, from Delhi to the border of Pakistan. Last day in India, and we are about to enter into Pakistan. And many of our friends, our family, our colleagues come to say goodbye, to bid farewell. And one of my very dear friends comes to me and says, Satish, aren't you crazy? You are going to Pakistan, our enemy country. We had 3 wars between India and Pakistan. Muslims live there, our enemies. And you are going without money, without food, walking. What about your security? At least you should take some food with you. And he brought some packets of food. Take it with you. I looked at these packets. I thought for a minute, reflected. And I said to my friend, you are very dear to me. You are very kind to me. But I cannot take these packets of food with me. Why? He said. I said, these packets of food are not packets of food. They are packets of mistrust. What am I going to say to my Pakistani host? That I didn't trust you, whether you will feed me or not, so I have brought my own food all the way from India. That is not my guru's advice. He was in tears. He gave me a big hug. I said, why are you crying, my friend? He said, Satish, this might be our last meeting. You are going to Muslim countries, Christian countries, tribal countries, capitalist countries, communist countries, mountains, snow, no money, no food, walking. I don't know if you will come back. It was a very big word for me at that time. Because this was first time I was leaving India. First time, I've never been out of India. But somehow my inspiration came to me. And I said to my friend that, look, if I don't come back alive from this journey, and if I die on the way, that is the best kind of death I can have. Because I'm walking for peace, and I'm living, and I'm also dying for peace. And I have no fear of death. And I have no fear of hunger. Because these are the 2 fears one has always. I may be hungry. Where will the food will come from? At least when you are in India. And I might die. So from today, I am renouncing my fears of death and hunger. And if I do not get food one day, I will welcome that as my opportunity to fast. And if I don't get shelter one day, nobody gives me a room to sleep, I will say, this is my opportunity to sleep under the stars. Please give me your blessing. If I don't come back, don't worry. He was not convinced. He was still in tears. I said goodbye. And I entered in the border of Pakistan. And a miracle happened. And I think miracles can happen when you have no money. Money blocks the miracles. as I enter in the border, past the passport control, the custom control, and as I come out of the custom building, somebody calls me and my friend's name. There are two of us. He said, "Are you Mr. Kumar and Mr. Menon, the two Indians who are coming to Pakistan for peace?" So surprised, utterly surprised. I said, "Yes, we are. But how do you know our names? Because we don't know anybody in Pakistan." He said, "I read in my local paper that two Indians walking to Pakistan for peace." And I said, "I'm for peace. And this war between India and Pakistan is complete nonsense. Because we are one people. And before 1947, we were one country. Why should we have war? So I wanted to welcome you." I could not believe my ears. 5 minutes ago, my friend was saying that you are going to an enemy country. And here I am standing in front of my enemy, so-called enemy, a Muslim, saying, "Welcome to Pakistan. I'm for peace." And he says, "Please come and stay in my home. Will you be my guest? I want to introduce you to my friends." At that moment, I said to my friend that if we come here as Indians, we meet Pakistanis. If we come here as Hindus, we meet Muslims. But if we come here as human beings, we meet human beings. So from today, the first day out of India, we are not going as Hindus, as Indians, we are going as human beings. What is our primary identity? Who am I? All these narrow identities that I wear on my shoulders, the weight. I'm a Hindu, I'm an Indian, I'm this, I'm that. These are all secondary, convenient, or sometimes very inconvenient identities. The true identity is that I'm a human being. I'm a member of this earth community. The largest community, the greatest community is the earth community. And all the members of this earth, the animals, the birds, the trees, never mind just humans, we are all members of this earth community. And with that realization, I walked. And I found the soil, the soul, the society, 3 words that you have been given for my talk, in that experience. It's not knowledge, not intellectual ideas, but experiencing how the earth is holding me. The true ecology is when you are walking on the earth. There is no other destination than destination of the earth. Earth is our true home. We have forgotten that we are members of the earth community. We think we are the bosses, we are the owners of this earth. Human species are somehow superior species, and all the other species of the earth can be sacrificed for the benefit of the human species. So as Graham said, we can cut down the rainforests, the lungs of the earth, and we can put animals in factory farms, and we can poison the land with chemicals and fertilizers, and we can do what we like, fish the oceans in a cruel way, and dig all the oil and uranium and make nuclear weapons and nuclear energy and GMO, and list is long. This is arrogance of human species. My friend Richard says, speciesism. He called it speciesism. So like racism, like sexism, like ageism, like nationalism, we are trying to be free of all those isms. We also have to be free of speciesism. Actually, we need to be free of all isms. Let all isms become wasms. Because ism creates duality. I love individual. Why individualism? I love communities, but why communism? All these isms create duality. And then you judge one above the other. In a holistic worldview, everything has a place. Everything in its place. Somebody asked a question, previous session, about good and evil, good and bad. I don't believe in evil, but good and bad. And my view is, everything is good in its place, in its right relationship. And everything potentially can be bad if it is the wrong place in a wrong relationship. You have beautiful hair on your head, sometimes blonde, sometimes black, sometimes red, sometimes white, and they are lovely on your head. But one hair in your porridge in the morning, in the wrong place, in the wrong relationship. So the universe, everything created by the divine providence and divine forces, has place for everything. Uranium is lovely where it is hidden. Let it be there. Why you have to dig it out and make a nuclear weapon? So bad, I mean even anger, even a little bit of ego, a little bit of greed, a little bit in a right relationship, in a right moment is okay. Like you in your dinner, when you cook your dinner, your meal, you put a little salt, a little pepper, a little even chili, little spices, it's fine. But if you put too much salt, it becomes bad. And they say, what kind of dinner? Too much salty or too much chili. In the same way, anger is like a little chili. A little bit of anger occasionally is in the right place, in right proportion, in right balance, in right context. Okay. There's nothing wrong with even fear. A little bit of fear is okay. Like a little salt, a little pepper. But if you have too much fear all the time, you are afraid of everything, then it becomes too much. So everything has a place in its place, in right relationship. So nothing good, nothing bad, everything just is. And everything is truth, sat, and everything in right consciousness and relationship between consciousness and reality will give you joy. So if your food is in right proportion, right balance, right harmony, properly cooked, not overcooked, not undercooked, then it will give you joy of eating. Ah, delicious. Who is the chef? Please thank the chef. That is, all life is like that. So I learned as walking with this vision quest, and snow, welcome. Rain, welcome. Steep hills, welcome. Deserts, welcome. Sandstorm, welcome. Nothing is wrong. This is the soil. This is the earth. We have to learn to live with reality as it is. This beautiful world, how can I decide this is good and this is bad? Beautiful world as it is, in this right place. Even the sandstorms have a place. Even the snow, even the rain. This idea of, I don't like rain, so I won't go out. This is fear. I don't like snow, I won't go out. I love snow. I mean, I come from India, desert, Rajasthan. And I love snow. When snow comes, I say, wow, let's go out. I'll put a jacket on and shoes on and boots on and a hat on, go out in the snow. Rain, beautiful. I will not stop walking in the rain. When I was walking around the world, but also around Britain, sometimes I'll get wet to my skin. I said, wonderful, no problem. So the moment your attitude, your consciousness, your mindset is changed and you celebrate life, that is soul quality. Celebration is the soul quality. And we need to learn the soul quality of celebration. I mean, there are two kinds of people. One who always complain, it's bad weather, always. If the sun is too hot, Is it raining? It's too raining. It's cold, too cold. Always something wrong. Always complain. Or there are people who always celebrate. Now, I would like to invite you to join the celebrators and not the complainers. And so this way, appreciating the soil, developing your soul qualities, and relating to all peoples of the world, society, whether you are a Muslim or a Christian or a Buddhist or a Muslim or a communist or a capitalist or black or white or whatever you are wonderful. What's wrong with being a Muslim? What's wrong being a Christian? If you are a true Christian or true Muslim, a true Hindu, a true human being, you are fine. Just don't get dogmatic, that's all there is. Don't get narrow fundamentalist. Just celebrate. Diversity is the salt of the earth. Diversity is very, very fundamental to the creation, the universe. Universe is unity in diversity. We are all one life. We are made of the same stuff, but different. Each person is different. If you went to a garden and you had only roses after roses after roses, and not even just roses, but red roses, red roses, red roses, it would be boring. If everybody was a Hindu, it would be boring. All this globalization is boring. All this homogenization. Wherever you go, Glastonbury is better because there are no chain, Marks and Spencer and Tesco and all that I didn't see in the high street here. But you go in any town, it's the same kind of architecture, same kind of shopping, same kind of clothes, same kind of everything, food. This sameness is a kind of, I call it uniformity. Unity is not uniformity. And diversity is not division. You can be diverse without being divided. We are all diverse here. We are all wearing different clothes, different hairstyle, different voice, different, everybody is different. And yet, we are united. So unity and diversity are complementary. Like male and female, complementary. Like dark and light, complementary. So that complementarity can only exist in diversity. So celebration of diversity is the soil, soul, and society quality. And I put these three words together because sometimes you have to capture the spirit and the mood of the moment. And many times in history, we have these such three words, like the French Revolution had Egalité, liberté, fraternité. But that was okay at that time for French Revolution. But in my view, that trinity is missing something. It hasn't got the spiritual quality. It hasn't got the ecological dimension. It's a very social trinity. And of course, Christianity has a wonderful trinity of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. But even that trinity is, I'm sorry if I'm offending any Christian, but I would like to say, Father is good, but we should also have Mother. Without Mother, Father alone is not enough. And the Son is good, but what about daughter? So we have to have a daughter. That's missing dualism. And then Holy Spirit. I love spirit. It's wonderful. We are all spirit. But what about holy matter? Matter is also holy. Matter is sacred. The universe is sacred. My body is sacred. I see sacredness, the spirit, even in the matter. This is what I was saying to Graham over lunch. I said, if the people, materialists, who believe in materialism, were truly materialist, they will revere matter. They will not waste. Our Western society is a waste-making society, throwaway society. If we respected matter, we will not have landfills, all filling with so much waste. And actually, our society is not materialistic. I call it moneyistic. It reveres money. It thinks money is wealth. Money is not wealth. People are wealth. Trees are wealth. Clean water is wealth. Rivers are wealth. Forests are wealth. Animals are wealth. The land is wealth. The traditional economy had a wonderful trinity: land, labor, capital. We have forgotten it. We have forgotten totally. We think economy means money. When Chancellor of Exchequer in England talks about British economy, he does not mean economy. He means British country, Britain. How is the money supply in Britain? The Chancellor of Exchequer is not in charge of economy of England or Britain. He's in charge of money of Britain. And he's put on the top ministerial position. After the Prime Minister is the Chancellor, who is the most important. And money has become important. Whereas traditional economy will say land. Land means all the natural world, natural resources, trees and rivers and animals, and everything, land. Land is the real, true, natural capital. And then labor, people, our hands, human ingenuity, human creativity, human imagination, skillfulness. Our educational system is making society de-skilled. This is why I started a small school in Devon. I said, what kind of education my children will get if they go to mainstream schools? They will lose all skills. They will not learn how to grow food, how to cook food, how to mend clothes, how to build a house, how to make chair, how to make shoes. They make nothing. Our children come out, only thing they know what to do with their hands is just how to use a computer keyboard, or maybe a cell phone, mobile phone. Hands are sacred hands. Hands are for creating, making, transformative power of your hands. Don't forget the transformative power. Transformation you can do with your hands. You take a piece of clay and transform it into a beautiful pot. Bernard Leach pot, Hamada pot, Clive Bowen pot, chair, beautiful chair. You take a lump of wood and make a beautiful chair or beautiful sculpture. A piece of stone. Henry Moore makes a beautiful sculpture and costs you millions of pounds to buy it. Who put that quality in that stone? These two hands. And when you have transformed the material, you have become an alchemist. Because the base material of clay or wood or stone has become a beautiful statue. Statue of the Buddha, statue of Krishna, statue of Donatello, statue of Henry Moore. Wonderful sculptures. That transformative power. You have been transformed from an ordinary human being into a wonderful artist. So the clay has transformed you into a great potter, Bernard Leach, and Bernard Leach has transformed the clay into a beautiful pot, which is now V&A Museum, Victoria and Albert Museum, or British Museum, or some other collector's piece. Transformative power is in our hands. So educational system, which is teaching you 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic. Unfortunately, the British even don't know how to spell. Joke aside, 3 R's. I say 3 R's not enough. In the school I started, should be 3 H's. Head, heart, hands. We will educate intellectually, but also teach children how to love, how to appreciate, how to celebrate, how to relate to each other, how to relate to the earth. If you don't teach relationship, what's good of knowing Shakespeare and Galileo and Darwin and all the theories of the world, Einstein, and you don't know how to relate to your friends and your mother and your father and your neighbors and your trees and your animals and your birds and your rivers and your earthworms and your butterflies and your honeybees. Relationship. If you don't teach relationship in the school, education is useless. So head, heart, and hands. We teach children to make things. We say, you are not going to be a consumer when you leave school. You are going to be a maker. When children ask me, what is your advice? I say, my advice is, when you leave school, don't seek a job. Create livelihood. There's a difference between job and a livelihood. Don't go for employment. Create livelihood. Creator. When you create your own livelihood out of your vocation, out of your calling, out of your heart, out of your imagination, what you really want to be. And whatever you do with your livelihood, you will be an artist. You will be a maker. You will be a creator. And from that, you will find joy, ananda, bliss. Wow, this beautiful pot, this beautiful chair, this beautiful garden, this beautiful kitchen, the food you create. Art is not only painting and music. Art is a way of life. And art of living is the greatest art. And all the other arts are secondary, part of art of living. And so how do we teach our children the art of living? That is the challenge I took upon myself. And we started the small school in North Devon, in Heartland, in 1982. And still going. And we have only 30 children at a time. And now we have got 300 to 400 children who have passed through the school. So we need, for our time, a more holistic vision. And that holistic vision is soil, soul, and society. And that vision we can practice in our lives. No good trying to change the world without changing yourself, as we talked before. We have to be the change we want to see in the world, as Mahatma Gandhi said. And so this kind of conference, Prophets Conference, where we come together, we are all inspired each other. It's not just I speaking to you. You are inspiring me as much. We are together. You are, therefore I am. The old idea of René Descartes, the Cartesian dualism, where say, I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum. I said, Descartes got it wrong. We don't live in our head. We don't live in our thinking. We live in our relationships. Relationships. That's why consciousness is relationship. We are all related. That's what American Indian wisdom, the tribal wisdom, the shamanic wisdom is in this relationship. Only connect. E.M. Foster wisdom, Shakespeare wisdom. We are all connected. We are all related. And you see, if that relationship is there, then we say, you are, therefore I am. This is the mantra of India. Soham. Soham means other is. You are, therefore I am. The earth is, therefore I am. The rain is, therefore I am. The sun is, therefore I am. My parents were, therefore I am. My teachers were, therefore I am. The Buddha, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, Shakespeare, Mother Teresa, all the great teachers were, therefore I am. You can just be in that gratitude. That's the spiritual quality of gratitude. Every moment, every day, in the morning when I meditate, I express my gratitude to the world, to my parents, to my wife, beloved wife. She is Eve. She is God coming with me as Eve. So, gratitude. She has given me her life. What a wonderful, how grateful I am. Every morning I thank her. And every morning I thank my children. How wonderful they are. They are standing on my shoulders, even more environmentalists than I am. And I thank the garden and the trees which give me oxygen and the fruit. And I thank the earthworms. If there were no earthworms, there would be no food on my table. Long live the worms. There would be no earthworm, there would be no research of Darwin. Do you know Darwin researched on earthworms? We celebrate Darwin, we forget earthworms. Who is great? Who is great? Darwin or earthworms? I think earthworms are greater than Darwin. Won't you agree with me? Who is great, sunflower or Van Gogh? Sunflower. Without sunflower, there will be no Van Gogh. There will be no one Van Gogh. So nature is the greatest teacher, greatest mentor. Our inspiration, our poetry, our music, our food, our clothes, everything comes from nature. We are nature. Nature is not out just there. We are nature. So that sense of unity, that sense of big picture, the vision of the big picture, that's all there is. We don't need to worry about anything. We only need to go out and celebrate life and celebrate the universe and not always go to wars like Libya and Iraq and Afghanistan and Kashmir and fight and nuclear bombs. It's just a waste of time. People are busy, busy, busy. Why are you so busy without any good business? There's no need to be so busy. They are working day and night from morning to evening. CIA, GHQ, Defense Department, morning to evening. What are you busy for? What are you going? Are you celebrating? What are you busy for? I would like, if you want to be a prophet, my last little advice to you is make space in your life. If you are working 5 days a week, make it 3 days a week. And then those 2 days left will be time for self-realization, time for walking in nature, time for writing poetry and books and songs, time for communication, time for changing the world. Go out and change the world, but we haven't got time. God has given plenty of time, but we have measured it. We have put in hours and minutes and days. My mother used to say, when God made time, he made plenty of it. It's eternal. Time is eternal. But where has it gone? It has gone into 9 to 5 office. Liberate the time. Before you liberate anything else, liberate your time. And work 3 days a week for money, your job. Because you have to pay the bills. Human life is more important than just live it, just pay the bills. But never mind, you have to pay the bills. Earn your money for the time being. But liberate your time, live with less money, but more time. People say, time is money. I say, you keep money, let me have time. So if we can do that, then our friend who asked the previous session, that what is your plan to communicate these ideas to the world? My first plan is to liberate time. Make time. If you have no time, you are busy from morning to evening, 9 to 5, and then you are just recovering from your exhaustion. How are you going to be a prophet? How are you going to be a Gandhi or a Shakespeare or a Mother Teresa? How are you? When are you going to be? You will remain just small clerk or small officer or a manager or even a CEO. So what? You are a CEO, busy from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So what? I don't want to be a CEO of any company. I want to be free in the morning to meditate. I want to be free in the morning and afternoon to go for a walk. I want to be free to come to a prophet's conference. I want to have time. And then, once you have time, those 2 days also join the gardening and cooking. Don't undervalue the importance of gardening and cooking. And when you are in the garden, you learn how generous nature is. I'm an orchard keeper. I have a few apple trees. And when I look at the apple trees, I say, you are my teacher. You are so unconditional, loving to everybody without any discrimination. You are rich, have apples. You are poor, have apples. Never apple tree asks you, have you come with a Visa card? You are educated, have apples. You are uneducated, have apples. You are a saint, have apples. You are a sinner, have apples. You are a criminal, have apples. No discrimination. Unconditional, unlimited love. If you want to learn, you don't have to read the Bible or the Quran or Bhagavad Gita. You just watch apple tree. If you want to be a great scientist, like Galileo, just watch the apple tree. Who is greater, Galileo or apple tree who saw the falling apple? Nature is the greatest teacher. So take gardening. Go out and walking in nature. You will be a prophet. All the great prophets, how did they become great prophets? They related to nature. Where did the Buddha got his enlightenment? The greatest prophet in India we consider is the Buddha. There is no greater prophet for us in India. Buddha is the greatest. But where did he get his enlightenment? While sitting under a tree. When he was observing the tree and the interconnectedness of all life, codependent arising, suddenly he had this enlightenment. My mother used to say, why we don't get enlightenment these days? Because we don't sit under a tree. We don't have time to sit under a tree and meditate. And so, to be a prophet, I mean, where does prophets go? Our desert fathers, they went to desert. They didn't go to New York and London to find knowledge. They didn't go to Oxford or Cambridge or Harvard to find enlightenment. Oxford and Cambridge and Harvard and Yale and big universities, they produce problem makers, not prophets. Where did Richard Dawkins study? And where Tony Blair, who took us to Iraq war, study? Oxford. Oxford and Cambridge, big universities, they are not centers of knowledge or wisdom, they are centers of ignorance. They are generally half-educated graduates. I was invited to speak at LSE, London School of Economics. It's a very famous university in London. And I asked them, please tell me, because I'm an ecologist, please tell me where is your department for ecology? They said, we don't have one. I said, you know what ecology and economy means? Eco means planet home, household, earth home. Logos means knowledge of home. And economy, ecos, nomos. Nomos means management of home. Now you are teaching management of home without teaching what is home. Where is home? How are you going to manage something you don't know? Can you manage something you don't know? So how can you teach how to manage without knowing your home? So please change the name of your university. Call it LSEE, London School of Ecology and Economics. They said it's a big challenge. Otherwise, I said, you are sending these graduates in the world to manage the economy, and they're half-educated. Half-educated is worse than uneducated. So no wonder the world economy is in a mess. Because all these half-educated graduates of LSE managing the world economy. So, universities is not where the true wisdom or knowledge or real understanding is. The true understanding is the university of nature, university of life, university of ecology. Go out in nature and observe, and you will be a prophet. Thank you very much.